All right. Hey guys, Kid here of Burn One with the Shadowverse Evolve channel, bringing you another episode of On Evolve. I know I've been kind of gone, and Dean's been a bit busy, but it's been like 99% my fault that a new episode hasn't come out. Um, but yeah, now that we're back in the kind of getting back into the swing of things, how have you been, Dean?
Been doing pretty good, definitely having a lot of fun with the set 2 meta, thanks to not actually needing to perform in a regional. You don't have to really test. You can play some fun stuff. I've been playing some pretty fun stuff at locals recently, so having a lot of fun with the game.
I know you've been sending me some of your spooky brews, and you've been getting hype a little bit with some of them, and then other times you're just like, "Yep, this deck sucks."
It's like some of them. Forest. I know there's a guy who keeps asking to see Forest.
Mm-hmm.
That was horrendous. I don't know how to fix that class.
The trick is to wait for the trick is to wait for more boosters.
You need more cards, because Forest, I couldn't crack that, but Rune, and I've been playing the combo Abyss, the control Abyss list. Bone Chimera. Bone Chimera is a pretty good card, by the way.
Yeah, he's a pretty sweet card.
So yeah, I've been having some fun with some lower tier decks. But what about you, Kit? What's been going on in your sphere? I know you had Texas and a few other things.
Oh yeah, I went through the whole like training arc for Texas. I guess spoiler alert, I went 3-3 at Texas and didn't make top 8. Some of my matches were really dumb. But after that, the burnout kicked in, and like I just didn't play or look at Shadowverse for like a week at least. But now I'm just kind of starting to get back into the game again. Probably going to go to locals this weekend because there should be more fun stuff happening because it's Thanksgiving in America here. So there's like usually some stores have like bigger pricing, or like they have like bigger events just for the holidays, because most people should be like have 4-day weekends basically. If not, and you're in America, I'm sorry for you. You probably work retail, and I'm, what is it? I'll say a prayer for you tonight for your Black Friday retail nightmares. But other than that, it's just been like I've been like, as far as card game stuff goes, I mean, like I have Weiss original coming up, but like Weiss is at this point a game where it's just like, give me the deck, I read every card, and I can probably still pilot it to top 8. So I'm not really too worried when it comes to that. So I've been like watching anime, catching up on all the anime I've been missing because I've been lazy about that, and I've been reading a lot of manga lately, which has been taking most of my time, and then just normal work. That's about
What's
it.
Your favorite anime of the season?
Beyond Journey's End. Was it Furin? Dude, I love that anime. It's so good. I love the manga too. Like
I actually haven't watched that one. I know I've seen everything about it. Right? It's impossible not to.
Yeah. It's the storytelling is really good, and like the author, the way they tell their story is just super good. Like it feels like nothing is done for no reason, if that makes sense. Because a lot of times, if you like, this isn't a shonen anime, obviously, but like shonen anime and stuff like that, they try to hype up the fight and the superpowers and stuff like that. But this is like more about the story and the journey than it is actually like how strong they are, even though like each character is actually really, really strong. So when fights happen, they're never about like elongating the fight to show off like, oh, both people are powering up to their max power or anything. It's just like the battle that they get involved in usually is a way for the author to push more of the story forward, if that makes sense. Unlike shonen, who are just like yelling at each other and shooting beams. But yeah. So I've been enjoying that a lot. And then actually I've been playing D&D again because of that anime, and my friend started DMing again. So I've been playing in his campaign, which has been a lot of fun. But yeah. Wait, what are you watching this season? Usually you're like one of the people I know that's like literally like, I watch everything all season.
Okay, I got a long list. My favorite is actually Under Ninja. That show is 20 out of 10. I recommend that one if you haven't tried it. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable as in it's super silly, or unbelievable as it's super good? Is it one of those it's so bad it's good type of things? Because I love those.
Kind of. It's like a seinen that like is surreal like half of the time with the jokes. It's pretty fun.
Okay. So is it like more self-aware about how
Yeah, if you watch episode 1, you'll know. You'll know
all right, all
instantly
right.
if it's your cup of tea or not. Then after that, it's just, I mean, we watch like so many random seasonals, but like that's the one that I keep getting excited about. I'm also watching
Hmm.
Arknights, but the show's good. It's also a little off. It's mobile game anime. It's very good at mobile game anime. I think it's as good as you can get. But
Oh yeah, for mobile game anime.
yeah. And then other than that, I mean, we're watching a couple other shows, but I'm watching like maybe 6 shows, but I wouldn't recommend the other 4 fully.
All right, I think. Oh man, am I actually only watching Furren this season? Hold on, let me bring up Annie chart really quick. I think actually that's the only anime I'm watching.
We're also watching Revengers, Idolmaster, Million Live. I can't wait. What actually do I have? Oh, Overtake, the F4 racing show.
Oh, have you watched Undead Unluck?
No.
Okay, I've been wondering if that's really good. I've been hearing like good things about it mostly, but I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. Oh wait, what the heck? Eminence in Shadow season 2 is already out. I didn't even know that. Maybe I'll actually catch up on that. Damn, am I actually only watching that one show this season from like current airing anime?
Well, we're also trying to get through Uma Musume, but like my friend has not seen even season 1, so we're halfway through season 1. It's important because in 2 weeks.
Oh, true. You need the lore, otherwise you won't be able to play as well.
Yeah, I need to you need to have a favorite girl to play the cards better.
True. Unfortunately, the girl I like is not the best card ever. Oh wait, MF Ghost came out. That's like almost like a predecessor to, or like yeah, to like Initial
Yeah.
D. Yeah.
We hated that show.
You hate it? Oh, is it that bad? Well, I like Initial D. So is it like Initial D?
I never watched Initial D.
Oh, okay.
Episode 1, there was no race. There was like only
no
talking.
Racing. What?
Episode 1 was only. Yeah, a friend came over and he's like, put it on. It's the car show. And then episode 1, not a single race happened. And then he just started screaming when the credits rolled.
Was there at least a car?
There's like a car.
Did they drive a car at any point, or did they watch cars drive? Oh man. Let's see. Dang, yeah. I'm literally only watching one active show from this season. Everything else I'm watching is like older stuff. I just catch up on the side occasionally. But yeah, but
trust my recommendation.
Oh, I'll listen. You know, I trust you, even though I know like a lot of times you have a very shoddy record of recommending anime, but when they hit pretty good. But yeah, speaking of Uma Musume, we have that coming out in about 2 weeks. We've already started our review. I'm pretty sure I'm going to release a review video before this comes out. Hopefully. But we've recorded a few. We've actually had some special guests on there. Prussia, which has been on this channel like I think like 2 or 3 times now. Occasionally, it's just he's one of the people I play very frequently in SoCal, so he's always around. And then our good friend Sam from Toronto, right? He's on that side, yeah. Right? Yeah. Our local Uma Musume expert, and by local Uma Musume expert, I mean like he's like the only one, along with Ryan, testing Uma extensively, so he has a little better insight for the Uma stuff than us. But we started that. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys have started watching that. But I mean, you want to, I guess we already kind of know the set, because we actually, for those that don't know, we did our very first Shadowverse Evolve video ever, I think, was just reviewing the Uma set, right, on the Weiss channel, just for fun.
Yeah, our first like
group thing.
I did a little bit of playing around with gameplay like back in the day with the Japanese format.
Yeah.
But that was our first like looking at cards. But we had no solid understanding back then, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. It was just
it was
us.
pretty generalist.
Yeah, we were like gut feeling everything, and we're like, okay, we don't know because if we're like, how many cards does this activate other cards? Like, it depends on that. So I'm actually
And
interested at the end of us like finishing doing this recording. I might go back and just like skim through and be like, some of the key cards. Like, what did we say about this specific card? I know for a
yeah,
fact there's no way we messed up on their rune. What's her face? Dude,
Daiwa.
Daiwa, yeah, there's no way because I remember we talked about Daiwa a lot, and about how I think I remember saying like this card sounds like it's like really broken, but
But
yeah,
I think the difference between this and like I had played some meta decks back then,
mm-hmm,
so I knew a little bit about the cards. Like I had a general understanding of the game a little bit,
mm-hmm.
but especially like recently, I've started trying to broaden my horizons with like deck building and like what you can actually do in the game. So some of these like outlier cards, like right, I don't know if like you were upset last night or not when I kept going off on the tangent. Like there's like some really funny stuff you can kind of do in the framework of this game. It's not as creative as like Magic or like Weiss, but you can do some pretty funny stuff.
No, yeah, I wasn't mad or anything. It's just really funny because I know the other. Well, maybe Sam is more used to, but I know Pressure doesn't really know you very well, and you're willing to like go off the deep end sometimes to try shit. Whereas like everyone else is trying to be a spike and like, nope, sucks. It's a 1 for 1 for no reason, and like requires 10 different things to work. And you're like over here like in like the fucking kitchen all the time. You're like, listen, look at my new masterpiece. 90%
I'm trying to get better at that.
90% of the time you come back with garbage, but the 10% of the time you don't, it's a banger. So but yeah, I mean either way I'm not excited, but like it'll be really interesting to like go back and see what we said originally to what we say today, because like you said, we have such way more vast knowledge about everything in this game, from playing to deck building to like theory. Because back then it was just literally like I have no idea really. Like I've played like we probably played like 3 games together before we started recording that stuff.
And before English came out, I probably had like maybe 25 to 30 games under my belt. Like we
Yeah.
had played a couple times, but have enough translation sheets and everything. And
Yeah, and you had limited card pool too, because you only like you're like I bought like
no,
6 boxes, or did you have like a whole set of everything?
I have it next to me. I have a full play set of like set 1 and 2 and the
Oh,
TD
okay.
set.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And
okay.
I had max rarity foil bell ringers. I had the stuff I'll be
Okay.
getting rid of. Speaking of the stuff, got this in the mail the other day.
Ooh. Got those
We're
SL
ready
Darias
for that deck.
for that all that cooking you've been doing. But yeah, going back and seeing how we rated things and like thought about things will be pretty interesting, especially like the key cards are I kind of already know that are like these are the really good Uma cards. Because definitely some of those cards, like if you read them in a vacuum, they probably don't, they sound like okay and they seem like okay cards, but when in the context of all the Uma stuff, some of those cards are actually like really I don't want to say broken, but like they're just part of a package that like unless you saw like the lines or early on, you wouldn't have been like, oh my god, this card's actually really good. um but yeah, so that will be pretty interesting. What are your thoughts about the Uma set and stuff? Because like unlike Japan, like we're rolling into Uma with sorry, not yeah, like basically 2 restrictions that Japan didn't have originally, which is Shenlong is now restricted to 1 per deck, and then so is the Uma stuff. Yeah, thank God for that. But so is the Uma package only specifically for the Uma craft deck. How do you think like that's gonna like? I mean, like how much more is that gonna open up the meta? Because like
if we had open regionals, I guess we do have 2 open regionals. Okay, never mind. Kind of.
yeah.
When people talk about the Uma board, like the high roll board, right? All I heard was it loses to Conflag. They were like, you get a 5/5 and like a 4/4, and then during your opponent's turn, you can use a quick, and then they give like 5/6 and 5/5 or something like that. Is the stat line on the high roll. So it sounds manageable. It legitimately does sound manageable, and I hear the consistency hit is big, so they're not getting it off every turn 5. That was like the huge problem. This is a very inconsistent game. A lot of crafts are horribly inconsistent. You notice it even when you build like outside of Sword specifically.
Yeah, Sword is
Where
like
you
the
can run
only
like 12
craft.
tutors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you always get what you
outside of
want.
that, You're usually like you have like suboptimal turns quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe like Haven can like set up like a they can using a Prism Priestess, you can curve out
Mm-hmm.
2 cards because like you'll usually have like one of like 2 turns in your hand, and then you'll be able to search the other one. But basically, usually decks don't go off every time. And like Uma's problem was it had too much consistency, so it was able to consistently go off. And
Yeah.
supposedly now it's not, so it's not every game it's going to be doing it.
Yeah.
It sounds manageable, and I've been watching some gameplay. They say the health lines are a little bit different, but I think that's just like deck building, just change it up. The Uma cards seem pretty good, especially when we were reading Forest. I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, actually,
The Forest
this
cards,
is the first time I was like, oh, actually, these forest cards seem really cool. I kind of actually want to try forest now instead of like being like, yeah, someone else can figure out forest and I'll eventually, get around to
yeah,
playing it.
yeah. It felt like the Forest cards were definitely a big boon. Some of the other ones not as much, but you know, I think there's something in there for like a lot of the crafts. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But I think we should. I don't know what's gonna funnel the top. I think like sword should fall a bit. It's a little too obstinate about like it never seems like if you play against like Dirt Rune or something as sword, I don't know like what you're supposed to do. And like if we're in like a more removal based meta, like sword's just never gonna sword struggles with like decks that they have to answer something on the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the more aggressive deck of like everything. Because like you have a lot of good cards, but you don't have a lot of good things that trade outside of Alexander. So if like Uma's popping off on 4 and 5 and you have like threats you have to answer, I don't know how Sword does super well into that meta.
Yeah, from the little whisperings I've heard from their testing, it seems like Sword just gets rolled by Uma, and Sword is like unironically like a better version of, or sorry, did I say Sword? I meant Uma is a
Yeah,
better version
Uma.
of Sword. Is what like we've been kind of like somewhat hearing essentially.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. You haven't done any testing in Uma right yet, right?
I have not. I'm the kind of guy I want to get the cards
Yeah, the physical
and then
cards.
like play.
Yeah.
And also like set 2, I bought a lot of cards. I still haven't played with them all, so I
No,
got 2
yeah.
more weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think usually around this week or sometime this weekend or next week is when like usually Pressure and I are gonna. Well, actually, Pressure still has a tournament, so I'm probably gonna still help him with set 2 regional stuff. But usually about sometime around now is when I start like reading all the cards more intently and like start testing decks just to see how they play and like experiment with some stuff. So I'm sure we'll have some Uma stuff coming out soon. But like I haven't touched crap with Uma. All I've done was like watch Japanese match videos occasionally, and then I've watched like Sam and Ryan play occasionally. But they've like only been playing like 2 specific decks, and that's all I've been seeing. Um, but yeah, I mean, like one thing too about like Sword falling, like I think right now Sword is probably the best deck in the format, just because of how good if you're very good at you know planning out your turns efficiently against each matchup, the Sword is probably like one of the better decks because you get a tutor essentially like every turn for the first like 3 turns or 3 or 4 turns if you want. um
Yeah.
yeah, so you consistently have like the good game plan and stuff. But the thing is, I think in Uma it almost like, I mean, we read Sword stuff last night. I feel like it almost gets, unless you build something wildly different than what's currently happening, it seems like Sword gets very little improvements, right, from like the current deck. And it seems like the current deck is like quote unquote the best version of the deck right now. But I guess that might change a lot because of how Uma was hit and Dragon was hit. Because one of the biggest fears I think a lot of people had was now that Uma was hit, is Dragon just going to be like the best deck in the format by a huge mile? Because I think even Shinto on his blog Shintoverse, he even put like if they don't ban Dragon, Dragon will just be like the only deck in S tier essentially, right?
Just like set 1.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess there's no there okay, like, do you think the pure Uma deck is still going to be like, now with like all the neutered stuff going on, do you think it's still going to be so oppressive enough that it's going to bully out the other crafts still?
Probably not, honestly. Like especially when I'm like looking at the stat lines and hearing about it. It
Mm-hmm.
it seems to me like we should have about. I'm guessing like 4 decks is what I'm gonna speculate.
In the top,
I'm gonna I'm gonna speculate Haven, Uma. Don't know about Dragon. I'm actually like thinking about Dragon. Dragon's like card quality is really high, but other classes get more.
I think one of the big things with Dragon too is like it doesn't get the luxury of having like 30 health and like triple Shenlong, so you can't high roll into Shenlong type of scenarios, right?
You still have like ramp and the best removal suite in the game. Like your removal suite is just so disgusting.
Yeah, I do think though, like you can't. Maybe I'm wrong, but without Shenlong, I feel like a lot of times you can't play for as long of a game as you normally could before. Like that was at least.
Were you winning with only 5 health?
Huh.
I guess 10, right? 10 was actually because you're not even likely to see a single Shenlong.
Yeah.
Even if you draw like half of your deck, it's like pretty unlikely you see even one.
Yeah,
like 50-50
it's
at that point.
Yeah, it's probably like if most of your games get to half deck, you probably only see Shenlong one in like 50% of the games, right? And
unless you play Dragoon Deep Draw.
Hell yeah, you just play 3 PTP so you can find your one Shenlong to get back all that health.
Drop. You got the new 6 drop. Draw 3, and you got Dragoon. Draw 3.
Busted.
We can find him. We can find him. We have the technology.
I
don't know. Like Dragon's like removal suite though is still so good.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanna. I feel like it would be foolish of me to say that's not going to be one of like the 4. I think Haven, Uma, Dragon, and the 4th one. Do you think it's going to be Rune, or do you think it's going to be Forest?
Man,
does Forest finally have enough?
So that's really hard to like say. I think it's a toss. I do think I'm actually like excited to see what happens with Forest when Uma comes out, because I do think with these nerfs to the 2 other crafts that were like the bullies of the meta, and what I read from Forest and like what I envisioned the deck to be like, I think
it's gonna be Abyss. That's the
secret. The secret is Abyss, but I think Forest has a chance to like push its way up there. Like if it's not gonna be in like the tier 1 stuff, it's definitely gonna be like, I feel like top of tier 2 type of like territory. But I could be wrong. I like if games are actually really, really fast for whatever reason, like people are dying on turn 5, 6, and 7 consistently, like then maybe Forest can just never get there. But I feel like the stuff with Forest, the things that Forest has access to with the new stuff, I feel like it's going to be a very solid deck all around. So I guess we'll just have to see and wait and see what people like gravitate towards. I know like in SoCal, it feels like a lot of people love to play Haven and love to play Sword. That's what I feel like I see the most. Like during set 1, everyone was playing Dragon. But nowadays it just feels like Sword, Haven, Sword, Haven, Haven, Sword, Haven is like all I see constantly. But maybe that's changed in the last few days since I haven't been going to locals like this past week or so. So yeah, I'm just interested to see like how these local metas end up shaping up after Uma. Yeah. Let's see here. So I guess, do you want to? No, not yet. Excited, but
I like me on your screen.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that I didn't pop this out. All right, there we go.
There we go. I'm back.
What's it called?
We're
here. Now that I've gone to my first regional for Shadowverse Evolve, I forgot how big was Chicago? It was like
20.
Only 20.
Yeah, only 20. That's one of the bigger ones. Okay, we got
for some reason players. I thought fair, but for some reason I thought you were like in the high 20s.
No, it was 20 flat. That's with like 4 people coming from Texas, so we could have had we could have had a pretty funny tournament. We still had a funny tournament.
Unfortunately for me, I probably picked one of the bigger tournaments to go to, which was Texas. Texas had 33 or 36 or something, somewhere between. I think 33.
34, I thought.
34? All right. 34 then. After playing in a regional for this game, like, how do you feel? Like, I guess I don't know how different it is for the Chicago one, but like, how did you feel about like they ran the tournament? Like, I felt like the event went pretty well overall. As far as them running it, and there's no issues. I heard something in round 3 or something. I think my opponent, like, I have no idea, but it sounded like they got paired incorrectly round 2. Like they got paired with the loss when they should have won or something. I don't know. But outside of that, like, I didn't really hear anything else going on. It seemed like the event ran really smooth. We were done fairly quick. We had 6 rounds, which was like, I thought this was going to be a 4 to 5 round tournament, and then we roll up and it's like 6 rounds. I'm like, dang, well, nothing else better to do, so I'm just stuck here for 6 rounds.
The rounds are fast though.
Yeah, so. Which is nice. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Did you have any issues at the Chicago one? I can't even remember. No, right? It was just like
all of my problems were tied to the number of attendees and like being put in the corner. The actual like running of the tournament was fine. Mm-hmm. It was more of like the presence that we exuded in the room.
You know, speaking of being put in the corner, actually, in Texas, we were also in the corner off to the side. We were so off to the side from where all the speakers were that when they did all the announcements, they had to walk over and we're like, we heard nothing. And they had to redo all the announcements again for us.
I'm sorry, Bushiroad. See, as somebody who actively judges for Bushiroad and tries to be a pretty strong supporter of them at times, this is why I don't get a lot. I never get a gig with them, and that's because I'm about to say something, and I think it is quite upsetting that Texas had a stream and they did not put at least the top 8 or the finals, or it's just like a game of Shadowverse up there, and that they streamed like 8 rounds of Weiss. I think they streamed 9 rounds of Weiss or something like that, and they did not once put up Shadowverse,
all right,
despite having a stream set up.
You know, Busho didn't run that stream at all, right? Do you know who ran that stream?
Who?
The shop. The shop was just like, yeah, we're set up to run streams because they do Yu-Gi-Oh regionals.
Okay.
Because it was a really big store, and so it was their setup, and I guess they got permission to do the stream or whatever. And so, like, you know, Bushrod had no control over it at all.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, maybe, like, obviously I'm not Bushrod's staff, but from what I was told was this, because like we were there, they had a big screen set up in the back where you could sit down on couches and watch the stream for like the finals and stuff. So from what I was told from other attendees, not Bushrod staff, was that like this is the store was doing all of this. So okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Bushrod had any say in like what they could stream and not stream.
Because I personally would love to see like more. Like, I know, was it Australia?
Yeah, it was Australia.
Australia, they streamed their, like, they had a Weiss Shadowverse day, and they streamed like a game of Weiss. Then they streamed a couple games of Shadowverse, and they went back to Weiss. And it's like, okay, that's good, because at least that's like exposing our game. You can go see it. You can go say, like, hey, there's the regional. Mm-hmm. And it's just something, right? It's something. I already were kind of like being shoehorned into the corner, like you said. You're off to the side, away from like the other players, and it's like a really small table. Even 33 people. What's that, like 3 tables?
I actually didn't really pay attention. We had 2 rows of tables, but I don't know how many tables were on in the rows. So
okay, yeah, like it's not that many tables, right?
Yeah.
It's about, like, you know, getting the game out there, because you know, I want to see this game grow. That's all I want to see. I want to see people come in, and we got LCQs coming up, and you know, streams are nice, just things to get people excited about the game and wanting to play. That's like all I really want.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what I want too. I just want a bigger community, more people enjoy the game, because this game is a lot of fun, and obviously I want this game to survive long term, because I enjoy the game, obviously, because we're out here making content. I really hope, I don't know, I wish, I mean, okay, obviously if someone from Bushrod actually watches this, if they ever want to be interviewed on here and like let us like pick their brain about like everything, you know, just send us a message or something, and like we'll have you on, and so we can interview and talk to you about like Shadowverse and like running events from a Bushiroad standpoint. But it's I feel like it's just such a I don't know how to describe it. Not like a letdown, but it's just like they're missing Bushiroad is missing out on like free advertisement in a way for their games by not having streams. I think a lot of players that go to these events, like us, who are like hyper competitive or who have friends that go and they can't go, they would enjoy watching these games and getting more match videos out there in general, especially from bigger regional events out there, like even on YouTube as just like straight up VODs, is I think very very good for game growth, for the community growth, and for like Bushiroad's like wallet also, because someone will stumble upon the video or like friends will be like, yeah, I play this game, check it out here. Let me show you this match video or whatever. If they have more of that out there, it can just like slowly gravitate other people from other games who maybe they're not even interested in IP, but they like playing card games competitively. They see this game, they're like, oh, this game's pretty interesting. It's kind of like Magic and looks pretty cool. I like the art. Let me just jump over and try it a little bit. And then that's how you get like extra people in the community who like, hear about like Shadowverse or Weiss or Vanguard or whatever through word of mouth, through random streams like that. I I wish they would take some of their advertising budget and like be like, here we go, we're gonna put a couple $1,000s to the side for like streams at events, because once you buy the equipment, most of the time it's like super simple to set up if you do a non-commentary stream, if that's what you want to do. And like I think people would die to have any stream even if there's no commentary. Like the initial investment is not actually that much, but the payoff for the community and for like stuff is way like it's you get so much out of the little you invested. So I don't know why they don't take some of their advertisement budget and do that for their regionals, because Shadowverse in Japan already does it, and they have the crazy Osaka technology.
Is insane. Like they have the hand cams, they zoom in on, they got the overlays, they pull up the cards. So Osaka stream looks pretty slick. That's a pretty nice stream.
Yeah, I think those type of streams though too are very very
those are costly,
very costly. If it's because if it's anything like when I commentated Worlds, I think in 2018 or whatever for Weiss, when I was backstage, their setup for the streams, because they had I think like 3 streams going or something, it was almost like a whole production crew back there of multiple people, like 12 monitors everywhere, so people can set up things and swap over to each monitor and stuff like that. Like they had a very professional team, so that's why like obviously the world streams we see for like Weiss and Vanguard and stuff are always very high quality. I don't expect high quality like that at regionals. Obviously, if it happens, it's very good in general for like the community. It'd be nice, but at this point, I think we're literally like we'll take just anything. Yeah,
anything.
We'll take anything.
Just games.
Just
games.
Yeah, just give us something, Well, yeah,
who knows? Maybe one day we have the nice ones, but that's a tall order. I wouldn't expect that for a while.
Yeah, I don't expect that unless the game blows up really, really big. Like I think the game for what it is already is pretty big for its initial release, and it seems like it's holding pretty steadily. I know, like people. I think you talked about this before, but those people that they jump from card game to card game because they're like, oh, this is the next card game I'm going to become the champion in. And they just like stick around for like one season and then they leave because they don't actually like the game, or they find a new game that they're like, oh no, I'm going to be the best in this other game now. There's always those group of people that like jump from game to game, and like we're kind of seeing those people start filtering out, and everyone else that actually enjoys Shadowverse as a game is sticking around and like talking about it more and popping off more. Okay, I don't even remember where I was going with this, but yeah, it seems like the community, or that's what it is. It seems like we're stabilizing to a decently sized community right now, and I just really want it to grow more as much as possible. And yeah, I don't even know what, because other game companies, they take part of their advertising budgets to run these events, right? So
Bushiroad has to be as well. I mean, their tournaments are free.
Yeah, so I don't know what is in charge of the
games, I think.
Yeah, they're in charge of running everything basically for like the competitive scene, I think. So I don't know what is keeping Bushro from being able to like set up a stream setup, because like I have a mobile stream setup if I want to like pack it up every time, and that like costs under $1,000, and I'm pretty sure Bushro could, you know, pay like $1,000 and have a okay setup and with no commentators, and you know, run it for years and years and years, and that's like so much free
There was the
video
one time
advertising.
we had games recorded back in 2018.
I think it was 2018 or 2017, and I was
18.
recorded 3 times, and you know how many times those VODs hit their channel? 0 times. So
There's all those big dick comments.
Dude, I like how that video is still up too. For those that don't know, Dean, myself, and this wonderful, amazing best player in the world named Broderick. Hero. Yeah, he's both our heroes, man. Broderick from Chicago. He's such a cool guy. We were getting recorded in Toronto regionals for Weiss, I think in 2017 or 16. 18. Oh, 18. It was that late. Okay, 2018. And they started recording our top 8 match, right? And
their finals.
Yeah. All you hear on the thing is, because they didn't cut the audio or anything, they just recorded whatever was being said, and Broderick every time would be like attack and be like big dick damage. And we're like, no one, like, when we saw the VOD on the Bushro channel, we're like, no one actually went through this VOD and listened to the audio, did they? Because it's just Broderick like cussing and stuff. Like, we're like, what is happening?
It's really good.
Yeah, it is a good match video. You should watch it just for Broderick's commentary to the game. I think at one point he's like, what does that card do? I don't care. Swing. But yeah. I don't know, because they I think sometimes they still record occasionally. Have you seen them record any of matches in Weiss or Vanguard? No?
Oh, well, I don't know. I haven't been in the finals for a while.
Fair. It's been, I think I heard someone saying they were still recording matches occasionally. I don't know why they do it and not ever upload any of the matches. I like, once again, like, if we can reach out to someone from Bushro and just like talk to them about it. I'm very curious how they use their marketing budget at these events. Because like I guess now they pay their volunteers, right? Because before, all the staff was just straight up like, you get a box of whatever product, right?
No, you always got paid.
You always got paid. I feel like I went to, like, this might be very long time ago when Weiss was barely starting. Like, I think I felt like I ran an event or helped run an event and just received like, here's like 1 box, and that was like my pay.
I've staffed with them since 2017. I mean, I was an official judge with you in 2017.
Yeah,
which has been.
It's been funny. I got kicked out of that program because I didn't judge for a year. That
was my problem.
And then I had to take a test again to be put into a judge, and now I have to like work my way back up the ladder again to like be a high level judge. And I'm just like, I don't know why I do this.
A little bit of drama with me. That was my thing that I got a little upset about is I staffed with them 2017, 18, 19, and 2020, but then not 2021. But then I staffed with them 2022. And I retook the judge test because they told me, we changed it up and you didn't take it when you first got it. And then they put me a provisional status. I'm like, I think I'm a little bit. I mean,
yeah, for those that don't know, literally Dean was the only person in Atlanta one year in top 8 that knew what was going on. And he like left to go eat lunch because they gave him a 30-minute break. And he walks back into top 8 and he's like, why is this happening here? This shouldn't work this way. You can't target this because this card is on the board. And it like, both players were just like, I don't know. It was a long day for both players. Let's just say that. They just had no idea what the board state was, and they were just doing things that were illegal. And this was top 8.
And the judges were just like,
oh yeah. And then
it's weird because of the Bushiroad has like so many games under their flag, and it's just people staff the event, right? They're not like Weiss people, they're not Vanguard people, they're not. Well, Shadowverse is actually Shadowverse people. It seems, from my understanding.
With the Weiss and Vanguard people, I also feel like it's just kind of like they don't get a lot of volunteers, right? So they just get whoever they can, and so what happens is like a person who's like maybe have very elementary knowledge of the rules of Weiss, but they're very good at Vanguard, they end up having to also work Weiss because they don't have enough actual staff for like both games. So the judges are cross contaminating games, even though like maybe a judge won't have like the best knowledge. So they're required to like sit there and watch games, but then they won't see some of like the subtle things because they don't know what cards do off the top of their head, right?
And I think another problem is that a lot of the Bushiroad games are small enough that if you're good enough to be like well versed in the rules, you're probably good enough to top. And so there's like a thing where like, I don't know, I would staff on like a Saturday, but then play Weiss on a Sunday. But now that I've like retired from Weiss, I'm willing to like actually staff the Weiss events as well.
No, yeah.
But you know, there's also that thing where like a Vanguard player is probably more likely to be your Weiss judge because he played Vanguard the day before. And then a Weiss player is more likely to be your Vanguard judge because he's playing Weiss tomorrow. So it's like a weird dilemma with those games.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where both of those games have a, like how they resolve like effects is like almost the same for both games, right? Like
Yeah,
the order. So you can kind of like, you know, fumble your way into the right answer a lot of times on like random tests or situations. But yeah, so but luckily for Shadowverse we probably never have to worry about that because the games are so different and how they do things, right?
Yeah, and their judge test was very strict, I guess.
Yeah. Which I talked to one Bushiroad staff member about when they're going to open up the judge test again. When I was in Texas, they're saying probably early next year before the next regionals. They should have the test open again because I'm dumb and I filled out my test and like I didn't submit it, and then I went once they released the rulebook, I kind of like skimmed through the rulebook to make sure my answers were right, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, and then I never submitted it, and I missed the deadline to submit the test, and I was like, oh well, whatever, I'll just wait till the next time they open it up because I want to get into the Shadowverse Evolved Judge program and like at least like staff occasionally. I don't know if they're gonna be as strict as Weiss and Vanguard, where it's like you miss one season, you can never judge again until you do the test again and get interviewed again. Yeah, I'm just like, okay. I'm like, I don't think that's normally how it works, but or in other games. Well, actually, have you judged in other games like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or anything like that?
I could be wrong, but I think it might have stopped. But I was getting like 5 years after I quit Yu-Gi-Oh, I was still getting emails for like the judge thing. I forget how high of a judge I was. I never staffed an event because it seems really hard to actually get on the staff list for a regional. Because you have to start at your local store. But I would get like the like, hey, we're taking applicants for like these regionals. And that's like years later, right? Like I not once responded to them, but I'm still on their mailing list. So something with them.
Yeah,
it feels pretty eternal with at least that one.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things, or I feel like other card games who do this, like this is an assumption because I haven't judged or read into like the judge programs for other games, but it feels like you pass a test. If you pass that test, you earn this rank of judge, and you're allowed to like judge your locals or something like that. You're like the head judge at locals, and then you can potentially go higher up and take another test, and if you pass that test and whatever hoops they make you jump through, then you'll get a higher level, and then you have to work a bunch of events to get to a higher event. But I feel like you never actually like you didn't judge for 6 months. Okay, we have to take your license away and reset you. You know no knowledge about the game. We know for a fact you don't know how to play the game anymore, or some weird stuff like that, right? It's a very interesting system Bushiroad decides to do for their judging program, but I don't know if that's going to happen for Shadowverse at all. Do you know if they said anything like that in the preliminary stuff or whatever?
I don't know. I mean, it's not 6 months, by the way. It's like a year and a half.
Yeah. I'm over exaggerating, obviously. It feels like that sometimes.
It felt like that because with the lockdowns and everything, there was like no regionals for a while, and it's like when there's no regionals to staff, like I feel like a lot of people probably just kind of like lost that, right?
Yeah.
But
all right, Dean.
Hopefully not.
Is there anything else we want to talk about regional stuff? Otherwise, we can get to your favorite part.
Are we at the part?
I think so, because I think this is gonna be a shorter episode this time around, because I feel like we don't have
Shorter. I
as
feel like we've had a lot of tangents.
yeah. I mean, yeah, but I feel like we don't have any like super concrete things to really talk about. Because I mean, like for like the regionals that passed, like was there anything interesting on those that you think are worth talking about? Because I know you did videos on like just talking about the decks already. Was there anything?
Yeah, the
From
decks.
yeah, was there anything you want to talk about from those? Otherwise, like
I like.
people, yeah, like if you haven't seen it already, Dean did top 4 analysis stuff and talked about the decks, so those videos are already out.
The big one was I liked. Well, did I mention it last time? I think the BC list that got that played Dragon, it got second.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I had to pin a best deck in format, I would pin that, like, non-ironically.
Oh yeah, the ramp
That
control.
deck is insane, and I think it has good cards across the board. The other deck I thought was interesting was the Haven that got second in Texas. I played that, and I like some of the thoughts that went into it. I'm still not like 1,000,000% certain on it, but that list, I played it a bit, and it seemed probably more solid than most other Haven lists that I've played.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it had like a little bit of the aggro option, and then it still had the Aegis and had like everything else, and had the Kaguya to refill the hand after putting down the Aegis. Like that, at least that's what I assume that's what you're supposed to do. Like that's what I was feeling. What I was supposed to do was I was supposed to build up like an Aegis with the Guardian Sun, discard my entire hand, but keep a Kaguya and keep a Path to Purgatory. So immediately after doing that, I could like refill my hand again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that deck was like pretty interesting to play. So those are the real standouts from regionals that I saw that I thought were good, and not just like sword smacking people a couple times.
Yeah. Played that list a little bit, and like alterations of the list I've made that I thought were like slightly better. I think the list was like it's an okay list. Like I can't complain. I don't know if it's the best Haven list.
It's just like something interesting
Yeah,
for people to look at, because
yeah,
it's different than the other ones. And
yeah.
Tribunal of Good and Evil is like that's a good card. That's a good card.
I still am not convinced that card is very good, but
that card
like,
is good when you play with Cruel Priestess. So like you play it once, and then it's a 4-mana execution that cantrips.
Yeah, I mean I've had that done to me like 3 times at the regional, and every time I was like, okay, and then now you're dead. Like, but I mean I was playing Dragon, so yeah, like the biggest issue I talked about before in the I think it was the Haven Craft deck profile I did after the regionals, on the one that we really wanted to take to regionals, but we are too afraid to take it, is because I think every version of Haven I've seen has been good. Like whatever people have built, even like the janky Tiger, Holy Sentinel Tiger stuff that people are still like kind of attached to, which I think is like pretty cool. In that, what there's some
on that?
Some people still play that, but but they played it like as a one of in they played it like kind of like a one of in the like Houston. It's almost the same exact shell as the Houston second place list, except it played like a Holy Sentinel in it as well to like get even more value. And I played against like that, and then like another Haven player as well, and then Skaz, who was my training partner basically for Houston, who also went there. He played against the second place guy with our Dragon list and like rolled him very easily. And like every Haven player I rolled against them rolled them very easily. And so like even though I think Haven's very strong, I think it's still like there was through all our testing, there was no way we could figure out a way to make the Dragon matchups like against a good Dragon player feel like a 50-50 matchup, at least, because that's all we were asking for. We didn't care to have an advantage. We just wanted the matchup to feel a little bit more even. But every time we played against it, up against Dragon players who were when we were on Haven, it was just like a struggle. And like, because I mean, most of the people in our like playtest Discord, like they're all very, very, very good players. Like we have Ryan in there, and we have Sam, Pressure, and stuff like that. All people who've qualified for regionals, and now some of them are going to Worlds. And maybe it's just the quality of player difference there. That when they were on Dragon, like that was the diff, and like we maybe should have still took Haven over to Texas, because maybe like the players there aren't as versatile to like beat Haven as often with Dragon, but I have no idea. Like it, like the Houston regional was very interesting in the sense that like there was 6 runes, right? Which I thought rune was like a dead class essentially, and surprised none of them made top 8, right? I think, and
it sounds like a dead class.
it is a dead class, but 6 people came up with it. Except for your secret.
Need to watch my video.
the Daria
video.
It went
0-10. It went 0-10 against Sword and Testing, but it went like 50-50 against Dragon. So we take the W's where we can, and I want you to know it feels sick. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's about the feeling.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I got off on a tangent again. But yeah, let's do your favorite moment, Dean.
You want to explain it for them, or should I explain
Dude, it's been so long, I can't even remember.
Okay. Everybody's favorite segment, totally not ripped off. Guess that flavor text. Basically, we take turns asking each other the flavor text of a digital card that exists in physical. We read off the thing. And then you start off with 4 points. And I think I have... I
think you have 5.
Like 3. At 3, I think I have 3.
Oh, 3?
You start off with 4 points.
Okay, yeah.
And then you can ask... Like, we have 3 different lifelines, and each lifeline costs a point. So the lifelines are what set it is in digital and not in physical. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
What class it is, and if it's a creature, spell, or amulet. So with that in mind, Kit, are you ready to hopefully tie this up? I don't think you can. This one's
Listen, awful. I'm an idiot and I don't listen to any of the voice lines in digital, so I'm ready to lose.
Okay, so you're ready.
Yeah.
Quiet whispers unite to form a great chorus.
You can't put the word chorus in there because all I'm thinking about now is Course of Prayer.
I know you are.
Oh my god.
Maybe you could use some lifelines, Kit.
All right, what craft is it from? Is that one? That's one of the lifelines, right?
Yeah.
You better not say fucking neutral. I swear to God. Rune.
This one is actually impossible.
What were my 2 other lifelines again? It was what type of card
it is?
I need to know what type of card. What type of card?
It's a spell.
Okay.
Surprise.
Thank God. Yeah, I figured it was a spell, but I was like, I need to make sure it's not a follower because, oh man.
What if it's an amulet?
I know. I don't.
Are there any dirt cards?
Oh yeah, dirt cards are amulets. I forget.
No, it's a spell.
Man, is even knowing the digital class going to help me here? Because I don't know where all the cards come from in digital sometimes until we get to like the Machina stuff. And
I can help you a little bit here, and that's like the first one was like the base set, the classic set, and we're on like Reign of Bahamut, and then there's also like the anime cards that would have like really unique sets.
Oh, okay. Well, let me hear what set it's from then.
Classic.
God damn it. I think that like takes out the one guess I had. What is the line again?
Oh, it's quiet whispers unite to form a great chorus.
Quiet whispers unite to
I'm not gonna lie, this one is actually impossible. You would not think this looking at the card. That's my hint to you, because I think it's so insane. He's in the tank.
Oh my god. I can't even imagine a card. Okay, I'm gonna just throw a random guess out there. I don't even know if this is in Classic, and it's probably not. Is Witch Bolt? Witch Bolt isn't in Classic, right? I'm gonna just get
that was in the second booster.
Okay. In the it's oh my god.
He's cooking.
I can't even remember what cards are in Rune anymore now. This is so hard. It can't be Sorcery Cache, right? There's no way. What else is in Rune? They can't be. There's no way it's the wind blast. Could it be D shift? Dude, I'm just gonna guess D shift because I have fucking no idea.
Damn, he locked in D shift.
I lock in D shift. I'm locking D shift in.
It's sorcery cash.
It is sorcery cash.
It's sorcery cash. Yeah, I
thought
pulled
I
it
read
up.
that card before, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it had something to do with like searching something in the text, but maybe I'm thinking of a different card. Oh my god.
No, I have svgdb.me up, and it's yeah. I like pulled this up, read that. I'm like, that is insane. That is like not. That's not even close.
All right. Well, Dean, you're still ahead. This is bullshit. You can't be picking hard things. You should.
I chose a card that's played.
It's bullshit.
You even said it.
True, I did say it, but I also thought there was no way that's sorcery cash because
I also thought it was no. When I read it, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
that's impossible.
I thought I thought I read sorcery cash. Maybe it's a different card I was reading, and I thought it had to do with something like searching for knowledge or some weird shit like that. Or yeah, there was like some like search. Yeah, it might have been Craig actually. Now that you say that. Oh man, dang. All right. Well, screw you. Next week, I'm gonna find the most stupid shit ever, and we'll go from there.
Commitment to next week.
Yeah, I believe there's totally gonna be a cast next week because I'm clearly gonna go to locals this weekend, and then I'll have good stories to tell. But yeah, with that, is there anything else we want to talk about? I feel like we don't have that much to talk about this week.
Did we? No, we should probably hammer that out a little bit more. One day.
In
set 5 meta.
In set 5 meta. No. Actually, no. Because I did say this. I forgot. I think it's probably not going to be this week because everyone's like, holidays and they're going to their families and doing stuff. But I think the week after Thanksgiving is we're going to finally do our like weekly Shadowverse like online webcam tournament ranking thing. If you want to join it, go into our Discord server, which you can find in the YouTube more information section. We have a link to it there. So join the Burn One Discord. We haven't hammered out the exact date yet. It's not going to be Thursdays for sure because another person, I believe Sparta on the Shadowverse Evolved Discord, they're doing a weekly local webcam local on the official Shadowverse Evolved, or not official, but the fan Discord that everyone's in. So Thursdays, I do not want to bump another content creator when they're like streaming, because I think they stream it too on Twitch. So if you're interested, if you're only available on Thursdays to play, check out the Shadowverse Evolved community Discord. Sparta, I believe, is the one doing it over there. I think we might be doing it. Wait, did you say you were free Tuesdays?
Usually.
Okay. It might be Tuesdays. We're not 100% set yet. I might throw up a poll a little bit like tomorrow or something on our Discord for people who are interested in joining it to see like which one we can get a decent amount of players. Because I would like it to be at least 8 players every week. That'd be really cool. But what we're doing is like I believe like top 3 or something, depending on the number of players. I have the rule list out on there, but depending on your placement in either top 4 or top 8, I think it is, you'll get points every week, and we'll have like a 3-month season essentially. And at the end of that season, whoever has the most points from winning consistently enough will be crowned the champion, and we'll just keep going like that. Right now, there's no prizing other than you can just tell your friends that you're the best webcam player ever. But I might try in the future try to work with a store or something, some online shop. Maybe they'll like sponsor like some prizing for whoever ends up being like the top player at the end of each season. Like maybe they get $50 store credit or something. I'll try to like reach out to people and see if we can do anything from that. But next week there will definitely be the Burn One Shadowverse Evolve. I don't know what we're calling it. I guess ranking battles happening on the Discord. The exact date is it's probably going to be a Tuesday, but join it before then, just in case if I throw up that poll and people are all like, no, we want to do it on Wednesday or something, and that's when we're going to get the most show out for it. I think other than that, do we have anything else to talk about, Dean?
I think that's it.
Okay, sounds good then. I guess besides that, guys, we'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Other than that, we have the Uma Musume review. If it's not already out, it's going to be out shortly after this. So make sure to check that out. Myself, Dean, Sam, and Presha are on 3. We did 3 already, right?
We did 3.
Yeah, so for at least 3 of those videos, those 4 people are going to be there. Can't promise if they're all going to show up every time for the last few crafts we got to do, but hopefully we can get them all back together sometime before the end of this week, so we can get those videos out as well. If you made it this far, you should like, comment, subscribe, all that, and tell a friend that this is the best Shadowverse of all podcasts ever, woo, or whatever. I think besides that, we're good to go. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.